What's going on? It's your boy Will My Craven. Want to do this little quick joint in regards to Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Uh, yeah, still in my ride bicycle riding gear, helmet behind me and all that stuff. So yeah, I was thinking during this ride about the whole Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown situation, and all on my timeline was the fact that these guys weren't ready for this. They faked us out. They fooled us. So much disappointment because a lot of people just simply wanted Golden State to lose. Needless to say, I called this in 2021, the beginning of January, in which I called half of it. I couldn't foresee the pandemic happening to the state of New York because I called them Golden State playing Brooklyn Nets. So I didn't foresee the pandemic taking a toll on Brooklyn and their whole squad, which I figured had not that happened, and it probably wouldn't have been so much turmoil in their locker room. Kyrie would have played, so I couldn't foresee that. But pretty much, yeah, my pick was from the beginning of January of last year, Brooklyn versus Golden State, which I had Golden State beat Brooklyn, which that whole big storyline, KD leaves and he's playing his whole team again. That was pretty much me expecting, but that was, and also barring injury. But needless to say, a lot of people just really did not want to see Golden State win. So there was a lot of talk in the media, a lot of people posting on social media, picking Boston to win before the series started because they just simply thought that because Jason Tatum performed against Giannis, which was a good defensive team in Milwaukee, because they performed against Miami, which was a good defensive team in Miami, that they were just going to go straight through the Golden State Warriors. Tried to tell y'all that mess was not going to happen simply because uh, the answer is in the details. And I always say pay attention. I called it on my social media where I said Boston was going to more or less lose the 6 games because they had an 8-man rotation and they would be tired by the end of the series. I said this. This was obvious. It was obvious. So people just simply ignored the details. And this is, my channel is a relationship channel. And I generally gear my stuff toward men, in which I tell you all the time. Pay attention to the details so you can think logically and make your decisions. And when you do this, you generally be right most of the time, which most of the time in situations that I'm in, I'm generally right most of the time because I'm looking at the small details. Because the small details is what's going to tell me everything, which, as I said in other videos of my channels, I grew up in church. My parents were preachers. So there was a lot of things that I had to pretty much pay attention to in the details. And there's also a scripture that I always kept to heart that said, the little foxes destroy the vine. So though, in which the little foxes mean the little details will turn around, if you're not careful, destroy whatever it is you're going to do. It's going to cause a loss. So knowing that they had that 8-man rotation they kept playing, and their guys playing 30, 40 something plus minutes, and the fact that they went 2 series prior to that to game 7 against 2 very good physical defensive teams, that already told me they weren't going to last. Regardless of how good they are athletically, they're not going to last. And considering the fact that I just said I ride my bike, there are days where I'm beasted. Then there are other days I'm terrible. Because a lot of times, as I said, I told on my social media, I ride my bike to work. I like to ride my bike to work because it gives me that time to actually get a ride in, because and being an unmarried parent, and there are other things that I have to tend to. So I factor in riding to get my riding in time and actually riding to work. And most locations I can just go into and just shower up. So it works. But the reality is there are days where I'm constantly doing that, I feel it in my legs. And it's like, I don't have it today. So I have to actually factor in extra time just in case I don't have it today or that day. So I already knew that it was not going to go well for them in the end. This is stuff I already knew. But the problem is, a lot of you all don't pay attention to this detail. So now you're saying you're feeling some type of way because you wanted the opposition who you were against to lose. So now, because they didn't lose, you didn't take all these into consideration in the details. Now a lot of you all are out here in your feelings because you feel like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown underperform, and in your eyes, it's mandatory that they should perform. But that's not the case. They shouldn't. They shouldn't and can't. Yeah, it needs to be factored in. For the mere fact that it's like, all right, some of you guys are gonna think, well, it's no excuse that they actually didn't perform because they ain't have legs. Well, they supposed to. Bruh, I don't care who you are. When fatigue sets in, there's nothing you can do. Like I said, I ride bicycles, and I've ridden 150 miles. That's my longest ride ever, and I had to build up to that point. But still, even in building up and doing that, there's still in my mind I know I can do it, but because I've done it already. But the fact of the matter is, your body can only do so much no matter how you want or think that you're going to be able to do something. And there's certain tracks that I'll turn on that I know that'll get me going and I'll actually be pushing out more power. But it doesn't mean anything on that day when I don't have it because I've tried to turn on those tracks and I still don't have it. And trying to turn it out, it's like, man, it sucks. I just ain't got it. It may be frustrating, but the fact of the matter is, I don't have it. So to think that these guys is like, oh yeah, well, they're not ready for it. And I seen a rascal actually turn around and say, well, they could win. It's time to break them up. This is the type of stuff is why I say some dudes just shouldn't be in a relationship because this stuff carries over. When you think this way, and you don't have all the details, it already tells me you're gonna suck as a leader. You're gonna suck as a leader because when you don't understand it, there's just gonna be days where you don't have it, and they're gonna be there, and there may be consecutive days where you don't have it. And I know this because all of the end of 2020, all the way to 2021, I went on that journey to saying, all right, I want to be 230. I want to get to 230. I want to be cut up, this and that, and this is what I'm working towards. Well, I tried to do that. Didn't really go the way I wanted to go. Lady tried to run me off the road in the process, in which successfully happened. And what happened? I broke my clavicle. That was a setback. So I couldn't do things the way I wanted to do. My body couldn't respond the way I wanted to respond. And people didn't know that I actually was experiencing some of the things I was experiencing. I didn't foreclose that information, but it still was a fight. So it's like, man, dude, regardless of the fact our bodies can only do so much, no matter how hard you push, no matter how hard you try. And then and to think that because somebody didn't perform up to your expectations because you actually wanted someone else to lose so you can gloat, what does that really say about you, man? You really think about that. If you want to tear down another player who gave it their all, even though you don't know how their body is feeling, but you think you can tell, they need to do such and such, which that never ceases to amaze me, how people can really think that somebody's supposed to do something for your own gratification. Think about it. You want somebody to perform regardless of how they feel or whatever it is. We get this misconception in the sports world that once they set foot out on that field, that they got to go perform regardless. How many times did you go to work and you couldn't perform, but you went there still for that paycheck? Now, granted, these guys get paid more than us, but they still got to go out there and perform to get their paycheck. They're under contract. Just like you're on the contract with your job, which is why most of your time, most of all you all's jobs turn around and say you need to give them a 2 weeks notice, because they know they got you on the contract and they can terminate you or terminate the contract any way they want to terminate within the guidelines of actual employee rights. But like seriously, man, come on, man, y'all gotta think about this stuff, man. In which I don't think y'all think about this stuff really thoroughly. You just say stuff out of your emotions, which you don't have your emotions in check. And because this is a actually relationship channel, this mess applies to relationships, man. When you have this mindset of this is how this is supposed to go, chances are you're gonna carry it over into everything else that you do. And you're gonna have this expectation with your woman. Or if it's females, they may have this same expectation with you, but you can't get mad at females having this expectation because they watch us. They watch us as dudes. So they know that you're doing this crap to other dudes. It's learned behavior. It's learned behavior. We learn from our parents, and we find out how much we learn from our parents when we become parents. Then our parents come out in us. This is just a fact. So the fact of the matter is, like, come on, man. You all are ready. A lot of you all out here are ready to get rid of Tatum. You're ready to denounce Tatum. But just a few weeks ago, you praised him to the hills. Now that one moment happens, well, a series, which we'll count it as a moment, that this moment in time happens, that they don't go out here and win and get it done. A lot of you all are ready to denounce them, defame them, discredit everything they did before. And like I said, because this is a relationship channel, and I do a lot of things cater to relationships, this is the same crap that y'all do in your relationships. If something doesn't go your way, you forget all the good stuff that individual did. You throw it out. As you know what I'm saying, throw the baby out with you throw the baby out with the bathwater? Y'all threw out all that stuff. Now all of a sudden, Jason Tatum, just a few weeks ago, was a superstar after he beat Giannis and them. He was getting called a superstar. Then they turn around and beat Miami. He getting called a superstar. Now they lose to guys who are far more experienced, which I guess y'all forgot that these guys, the Golden State was far more experienced. That now all of a sudden, he ain't a superstar. He's a star because he didn't get it done to your expectations. Come on, man. And this is why a lot of people end up getting divorced, because you forget about the good stuff that happened. And the minute something bad happens, y'all ready to denounce. You're ready to get rid of whoever it is you're with. This is not what you're supposed. This is not conducive behavior. But this is the type of behavior that's happening. Come on, man. That is not good for your relationship. And it's funny because I understand how this life goes. Life gets better due to time. Time has to go past for you to grasp things. Time goes past for everything you've learned to manifest and show itself. You don't really know who you are as far as what you learn from your parents until you become a parent. It takes time for that. You go through school. You don't see the money if you went to school, and you don't see the money from the education that you've actually gotten until time goes past and you're finally in position to make the money that you think you're going to make. And even if you don't go through school and you learn certain things, it still requires time to go past in order for that to manifest. So for you to say, oh, okay, this didn't work all of a sudden, now you ready to tell Boston or whoever else, oh, y'all need to get rid of them. It's like time. So you're ready to kill this and not let time keep going in order for it to manifest. This is why I've been told plenty of people on social media why I told you all that Golden State was going to do what they was going to do and that they shouldn't even break up none of the guys. They shouldn't trade none of the guys. Let them develop. Time is on your side. I was proven to be right, and Golden State understood this too, and it proved to be right. And when it's right, you turn around and you invest into it. And when you invest into it, and then you put things out there the way they're supposed to be, those who are following fall in love. They fall in love with it. It makes it that much more profitable. So People would then when it goes to your relationship, when you put the time in and the investment, people then fall in love with you and the one you're with. This is what turns around and creates the relationship goals, because they put the time in. Time has went past, and people are watching, and they then become appreciative of what they see. Why? Because they want to attain to something. This is how this goes. Now, the best thing for Boston and Jaylen Brown and all them, which I expect them to bounce back. I 100% appreciate what Andre Iguodala did at the end of the game, because he was coaching Wiggins. He gave some kind of speech to Jaylen Brown, as he gave him that little pat on Jaylen Brown like he did Andrew Wiggins. Gave that man some nuggets. Why? Because anytime you see greatness, you want to encourage it, and when you're competing against it, it's like, okay, yeah, I'll give you a few nuggets. Why? Because if I help raise your bar, that it gives me something else to raise my bar to go above and beyond. It keeps me improving. It keeps my blade sharpened. So, for people to say, oh yeah, well, yeah, let's break them up. No, that's the foolish thing to do. Add to it. Okay, what do we need to improve? What do we need to improve this team in Boston? This is the same thing that you need to be doing in your relationship. All right, okay, we had this little hiccup right here. We didn't get past this hurdle. Why didn't we get past this hurdle? It's called evaluation. This is what I always say on my channel. You have to evaluate. So, in evaluating, what's the issue? What do you do right? Not only are you evaluating the bad, you need to be evaluating the good. How do we improve this? Okay, we didn't do this right. So let's make this adjustment. Let's make this adjustment. We got time on our side. Time is on your side. If you get close to attaining your goal, time is on your side. Then you need to evaluate your opposition. This is what needs to happen. So what does my opposition have that can possibly stop me? This is the same thing that needs to happen in your relationship. Those who are opposing your relationship, figure out why they're opposing your relationship. So going forward, you know how to counter it. And then you put certain things in position to turn around and be like, all right, yeah, you did that, but that's not affecting me. Why? Because I know where we are. I know where we're going. I know how to dig deep. So like with Tatum and them, all right, in order to improve that they had the fatigue issue, which was obvious. That was obvious they had a fatigue issue. Their shots were short. A lot of their shots were short. That's usually the first telltale sign of fatigue. Not only that, they played a heck of a defense on the defensive side of the ball against Golden State. So that's the next part. Like, all right, we gotta improve our stamina, because if we have to be in this position again, we need to be able to last a little longer. So we knew what it took to get to this point. Now that's evaluate. Now we need to take our conditioning up another level. So, in your relationship, if you start identifying issues, okay, well, we don't get along in this aspect. Okay, why don't we get along? Oh, this and this happened. Oh, you don't listen to me, or you're not comprehending what I'm saying. All right, how do I counter that? This is the kind of stuff that needs to be happening in your relationships. But it don't happen. Y'all be ready to throw away because it's so daggum obvious, because you do the same mess in the sports. You're ready to get rid of a guy. There's an issue in society, and its main issue is you guys are ready to quit. You don't want to evaluate, put in the work to actually make this work. It can work. Nice. Things can work, and it would work if you put the time in. If you evaluate. Man, there's nothing more that I'm big on than evaluating and paying attention. If you pay attention and you evaluate and you see the details, you can turn around and make improvements to where it's hard to beat you. And it's hard to beat your team. So if you're in a relationship, y'all both on the same team. Y'all working together. It's a common goal. Come on, man. Y'all gotta do better, man. And this is why I tell ladies, you wanna know how your man gonna be? Look at him when he watches sports. When his team loses, look how he responds. Because he's going to respond the same way as he responds. 9 times out of 10, he's going to respond the same way as he does with the sports as he's going to do with you. That's what's going to happen. Because human beings are a creature of habit. They get lazy. A lot of human beings are lazy. So they'll turn around, and because this worked over here, they're going to then turn around and do it over there. And if they get away with it, they're going to keep doing it. And the subconscious mind is going to take over. Because most of the time, most people operate in their subconscious mind rather than their whole state of being that's in the present. To be conscious enough to know exactly what's going on. And you know this happens when you turn around and ask them, hey, you remember, well, you did such and such. And they're looking at you like, what the heck is you talking about? They don't remember nothing because they was operating in their subconscious mind. But with that being said, man, it's your boy Will McCraven, man. Yeah, y'all need to get up on y'all square. Evaluate, process, pay attention to the details. Because the mere fact of the matter is, let time evolve, let people develop. You kill the development process if you're ready to break up something that may not need to be broken up, especially when it's young and it's in the early stages. Anything that's in the early stages can possibly be fixed if you actually put in the work to fix it. But if you don't put in any type of work, it's not going to get fixed. Which 9 times out of 10, most of you all stuff don't get fixed because you're not putting in the work. But with that being said, fix your face, fix your spirit. It's your boy, Will McCraven. I'm about this joint.